Tonight, Caster Semenya in the spotlight again. Tony Martin fills us in on number plates. We celebrate Friday with a Metro whip around, and Joe Stanley joins us live. This is the 7pm Project. Good evening and welcome to another Friday night here at the 7pm Project. Carrie Bickmore is off on a long weekend, so joining us once again we have Kim Watkins. Rounding out the desk tonight, we please welcome Joe Stanley and Tony Martin. To kick it off, Kim, what's happening in the world right now?
Well, in the news today, Friday, the 11th of September, gender tests on South African 800-metre world champion Caster Semenya have revealed she's a hermaphrodite. A leaked report shows she has no womb or ovaries, but does have internal male organs. Semenya will be advised to have immediate surgery because her condition carries significant health risks. A man and a woman are dead after a school bus collided with two cars this morning on a treacherous road south of Sydney. The New South Wales Ambulance Service says 11 of the school children on board the bus suffered serious injuries. And to a story we've been following closely, the Japanese fishing village Taiji will suspend its annual dolphin slaughter for at least a week after the highly secretive killings were exposed in the documentary The Cove. Some of the dolphins will be sold to aquariums and some will be released. And with jockeys threatening to boycott key race days over restrictions to the whipping rules, the multi-million-dollar spring racing carnival may be under threat. Jockeys want to use their whips without restriction in the last 100 metres of the race. The RSPCA is also threatening legal action against jockeys who strike horses in breach of the new rules.
This is a tough PR battle that the jockeys are fighting because they're basically going on strike for the right to hit animals more.
Yeah.
That's a tough sell.
It's a hard one to win.
It's totally cruel to do it, but I have to say, who cares if jockeys go on strike? I've been going to the races for 5 years. I've never seen a horse. They could be riding each other around the track.
Why don't they just let them loose and smack them on the bottom? You know, not with the strap, but just a little, whoosh girl. You know, when you get the horse going, just
So
let it loose.
you're opting for jockeyless races, but maintaining the animal violence. That's what you're...
No, it's not. I'm not saying you beat it. I'm just saying you give it a little whoosh on the bottom, like when
a little good job to your
like
secretary
your
sort of thing.
wife's
Well done, Toots. That's sort of...
Yeah, a little,
Harsh language, I think, is the answer. Drop the whips, just everyone harsh language all the way around. the way to do it. But the Today Show team, Carl Stefanovic and Cameron Williams, they certainly had a crack at this. They got some whips. Have a look what they came up with.
Just bend over.
I think that would look really weird.
That's too weird, isn't it?
All right.
Yes, the rest of that clip is heavily pixelated. And they recognised that it was getting a bit weird and they decided to rein things in. Have a look.
That does
Harder! To the line!
That stings.
Mate, this whip is
It's the
more
new one.
padded and it's got a gentler strike zone.
That hurts a lot less.
A lot less.
It still hurts though.
I hope they started with a glass of wine.
By the way, I just want to say we didn't add that music to it.
No.
They actually put Eye of the Tiger on there
What were they
for some
thinking?
reason. I don't know, but I think this is a great new direction for the Today Show. I'd go with this S&M angle, right?
Yeah.
I imagine in 6 months' time you tune in, the whole thing's in a dungeon. Lisa's whipping Kyle. The weather's done by a guy, a leather-clad gimp, maybe Stephen Jacobs, I don't know.
Obviously, Richard Wilkins' segment, Dick's Flex, will take on the dimension. A lot of fun to be had there.
Now to the latest from headline-grabbing opposition frontbencher Tony Abbott. After Parliament wrapped yesterday, the media asked him about the government's so-called education revolution and, in particular, Julia Gillard's performance in what had been a rowdy week in Parliament. He had a fairly colourful way to describe the Deputy Prime Minister's demeanour. Have a look at this.
There's an expression which I think is sometimes used to describe the look she had in Parliament today. The expression, excuse it, is shit-eating grin.
Joining us now is
Classy.
Deputy Editor of Crikey, Sophie Black. Thanks for coming back, Sophie.
Thank you.
Can I just first off ask, in your professional opinion, what is a shit-eating grin?
Apparently it's a grin that is especially smug or self-satisfied. But this is a bit rich coming from the guy who pretty much perfected the expression.
Well, I thought he was referring to Julia Gillard's need for teeth whitening, perhaps.
I still can't get my head around the definition of shit-eating grin, really. I mean, apparently it's the look that you convey as you're saying something terribly unpalatable.
Oh, okay.
So Julia does look a bit smug.
Like when someone's holding a
question
small...
time, it must be said. But then Tony has perfected the look.
So you're saying it's the look of someone holding a small...
poo. You know, that look, and they sort of has that... It's that sneer, as though someone's permanently waving a smelly one underneath
Do
them.
you know, I almost smelt it then. It was amazing. Now, can I just ask you, like, Tony Abbott, he comes out with these lines like this all the time. Does he have any self-editing process left whatsoever?
Absolutely. It's completely calculated. I think he prides himself on the way he is a plain-speaking kind of guy. He prides himself on the fact that he tells it like it is. So, and he's also he's dropped the S-bomb many a time.
He has got a history of it.
He knows that it's a guaranteed soundbite, and he will get a headline out of it every time.
But isn't it a bit weird that he's such a conservative Christian figure? He's full on into his strict Christian rules of behaviour, but will throw language like this around.
Really confusing character. I mean, some people consider him to be Satan, but other people think he's really, really likeable as well. He's just got that. And Julia Gillard
That's
gives
how
off
Satan
that.
sucks you in, by the way.
Yeah, and he's got really good guns as well.
What?
Yeah,
What?
no, he does. He's got. I'm sorry, but he does. Have you seen him surfing? He's got a really good body. He doesn't fit that kind of conservative right-wing box.
Does he have a hairy chest?
It's unsettling. He has a very hairy chest. He gets out in the lycra all the time, and he
How
and
do you
Julia
know
have
this?
got a bit of a thing. He's seen. There's pictures of him.
You love
Peeling
Tony
off the
Abbott.
wetsuit. No. Julia loves Tony Abbott. They flirt with each other in
not.
Julia
Is that what this is?
Watch for it.
Is this-
There's
is
some
this-
kind of sexual tension
No, she's
there.
a sledger. I've worked it out. That's why Julie Bishop got really cross that time. You know, and went "Ow" in the house because she must be a sledger.
Yeah,
Do
Julia.
you really think so?
She gives
I
as
prefer
good as
this,
she gets.
this sexual tension thing. That's,
Yeah, no, there's something there.
makes me
Watch
a bit
for
ill.
it. Watch for it.
It does, but at
Yeah.
the same time, you know, order in the house should be M-rated from now on. This is going to get hot and
Steamy.
heavy. Sophie, please hang around with us for the rest of the seg. Thank you for joining. Sophie Black, ladies and gentlemen.
As we heard earlier, gender tests have reportedly revealed South African runner Caster Semenya is a hermaphrodite, which might have helped her win her race. My heart absolutely bleeds for this girl. Let's get the latest from our South African correspondent, Loiso Gola, in Johannesburg. Loiso, you woke up to this news just a few hours ago. What are the newspapers saying about this today?
Well, a lot of newspapers are actually just reporting from the main source of the story is the Australian newspaper. So, like, I've got one here that says maybe not 100%, and then it says Oz newspaper, Caster has tested lack of womb and ovaries. So all the information we're getting in South Africa as it stands is just from Australia.
Oh.
And we don't believe you because we know you guys have a great tabloid culture, so whatever.
Loiso, do you stand by your claims then? You stood by her when we spoke to you a week ago about this. Do you still stand by her that she should have won the gold medal?
Well, I mean, we'll wait for the test. I think the whole of South Africa has sort of been like supporting her because we don't have a big tabloid culture in South Africa. So at this present moment, the press has been very sensitive towards the whole situation because you have to take into consideration that she's only 18 years old. So
That's right.
in the report in the news this morning, it said that she's seeing a psychologist and she's actually a bit traumatized about this. So think about her. She's only 18. So I'm going to reserve my comment until the results come out.
Is it true that she's gone into hiding?
Okay, this is a clear example of tabloid culture. The story hit, it's 10 o'clock. And the story hit like 3 hours ago. Where could she have hidden? She's at home. I mean, they spoke to the parents this morning. The parents are upset. She's not hiding from anything.
She's asleep.
You guys are crazy. She's at home with her parents. She's probably having breakfast, actually.
Loiso Gola, thank you very much for joining us again on 7pm Project.
Thank you for having me. Bye.
Now, this is an amazing issue, though. If this turns out to be true, that she is a hermaphrodite, what do you
That's
think?
right, it's a leaked report. We've got to point that out at this stage.
Which is a massive breach of her privacy as it is.
And she wasn't even approached by the paper about this story. But she or her parents,
No.
no one sought comment from them.
But what about what she's already gone through already? She's only 18. She's had the most intrusive things happen to her in the name of some kind of suspicion. When I was 18, I wouldn't take my top off in the gin change rooms, and I can't believe she's gone through all that.
Yeah, it is. It's like she's been raped in the media. I mean, exposing all of her personal details. I can't think of anything worse.
And for the rest of the world to know this apparently before she even gets the test, how is she ever going to get a date again? Everybody knows this.
It's dreadful for her personally and psychologically, but also from her career. She's put so much work. She's become an elite athlete, and now they're saying, you know, maybe she can't compete in the Olympics. She's apparently pulling out of a run this weekend because of the controversy. And it's so unfair. Surely they have to find a way to let someone who has trained so hard and worked so hard at this, an amazing athlete, compete in some way.
Well, it does. It raises some really interesting points. If they say, no, you can't compete in the women's race, well, can she compete in the men's race? I mean, you know, they just can't do it.
Could be an absolute boon. 50% increase in events that she could enter in. I would have thought.
Right, so
but it is.
Are you suggesting? Because I think I know what you're hinting at. Are you suggesting that she races Lady Gaga? Is that
there has just been so much of it that Lady Gaga was accused of being a man, and I don't think that was true. I'm told she has a very feminine penis. That's caused some confusion.
We really have to take out. Please thank Sophie Black for joining us on the panel tonight. We'll be back right after this.
Next, we cross live to Andrew G for the latest Idol news from both here and overseas. This is the 7pm Project.